really big, because the star is after the tower. Okay, and you all know how the tower is. I think everybody knows in the spiritual community that the tower is no joke when it comes to changes. Either you can make it happen, or there's changes around you due to you holding on to something for too long. Like there was a desperate need for there to be changes. But this is not about the tower. This is about after the tower. This is about, aspiring for new things, taking advantage of your heart's desires, right? Going ahead and taking advantage of the energy, manifesting happiness, manifesting your hopes and dreams. But it comes from, what does it come from? It comes from giving of yourself, right? Because what is Aquarius? The water bearers. They don't drink the water. They don't take the water. They give water back. They always put the water back. And the reason, the representation of the star when she does that is her giving, giving of herself to make those dreams happen. I'm sure that this person dreams of having a beautiful garden, a beautiful foundation again, right? And the only way for her to do that is by giving her, giving water back, like giving of herself to make those things happen. And that in place does create a space for healing, right? The star is also very healing energy. So let's take a look at the romance angels and see what else they say for this relationship. They have playfulness, and it goes right along with this Page of Wands energy, y'all. And why you ask? Well, Page of Wands is youthful, it's fun, it's energetic, it's lighthearted. And I feel like with playfulness, this is really in capturing the essence of playfulness, fun, having a good time this weekend. And it's hard this week, period, or going back and enjoying life. And it's hard to do when things are real, have been real serious, or things have just kind of, hit the fan. Recapturing that youthful energy. Okay, because it says to capture romance, allow your inner youthful spirit of fun to shine. And this is exactly it. So, going ahead and starting off this reading here, we're going to start on this side here, but feel free to pick the side that resonates with y'all the most. We got the Six of Wands coming up here in this person's mind space. How they see the relationship is the Six of Wands. They see this relationship as extremely successful, and the work that they've been putting into it showing for it. Like they really feel good, they feel recognized. At the same time, I kind of feel like this person may be wanting attention, but that's for very few. But I feel like the biggest thing though is that they have gotten they've gotten the recognition for the work that they put in. They are recognizing that their efforts in this relationship has become very, very good, very successful. And I feel like ultimately this brought you guys together because of how this person is showing up, how this person is showing themselves in their physical plane, right? How they're representing, how they represent themselves in this moment, and how they see themselves as the Three of Cups. And I like that. They're really connecting with you, and they feel that success in that relationship. They're celebrating. They want to celebrate. They're in a good energy. Now, the other person, how they see this relationship is the moon. I kind of feel like they're just kind of going with the flow, no real adjustments, no real abrupt anything. They're just kind of flowing with it. Now, at the same time, they also have to kind of trust their intuition, because this may be something that, I don't think this relationship itself is confusing. I think they're confused themselves. Not because, of anything the person did or even themselves. It's just that, they've gone through so much. The moon talks about conquering fears and overcoming anxieties and, uncertainty, right? That we may have, due to, of course, experiences and lack of experience and, things that we are afraid of. So this person is overcoming a lot of stuff, because the way they're presenting themselves here is the Nine of Coins, which is the Nine of Pentacles. And the Nine of Pentacles talks about, being in a comfort zone. This person knows their independence, knows what they're capable of doing, knows that they are able to manifest great things. But they've gotten comfortable in this environment, or this mind space, or this environment, whatever this is for them. And it's, and they're breaking out of it with the moon with this relationship, I feel. Because they see the moon as something unexpected, something that's totally having to go on faith. And it's true. When you go into a relationship, you're going on faith. There's no way to tell if this relationship is going to last forever, or is going to, not last forever. But this person is definitely stepping outside their comfort zones, and they're facing a lot of their insecurities and fears regarding this relationship. So, what does this all bring us back down to? Well, the spiritual plane, because we already talked about the physical, and the spiritual plane, or the history of this, is the reason why the person is showing showing themselves as celebrating and thinking this relationship is a success. The reason why is because they've done a hell of a lot of talking. Okay, they've done a lot of talking, a lot of communication, a lot of work has went into this relationship, and it definitely came from communication. Now, I do feel like this person also pushed, definitely rode with the speed of the relationship as well. They're in love as well with the Eight of Wands. I feel like the Eight of Wands still, to me, is like the arrows of love. So this person was definitely hit with that, with that energy and that passion, and it drove them to continue to influence the relationship by communication and putting their foot forward with it. So they were definitely doing the best that they could with this energy here with the Eight of Wands. Now, the other person, though, the spiritual plane, what kind of has put them in this position where they're not quite sure about how this relationship is going to end up, and they're very practical about it. They're very in their kind of comfort zone, and they're bored as hell too, because they're still cautious, they're still nervous, is because of the Two of Pentacles. They had to juggle their relationship a little bit. They had to not juggle the relationship, but they had to juggle two different things, right? Juggle their their options, their choices. They weren't quite sure of which was the best option to pick, and they still don't. And I feel like even though they've picked, I feel like if they even picked at all, this is totally going off of faith. This is totally going off of believing that, knowing that they can handle what they can handle, knowing that, understanding and knowing their strengths and their weaknesses, that anything can be possible. But they are still struggling with inner stuff, inner fears, inner pains. And really, I feel it has to do with, either the confidence on their part, or the confidence for them. Because I think the anxieties may be coming up, and it's really weird, and it may not resonate for very many of you at all. But I kind of get this feeling this person's having a hard time trusting themselves, because when they get bored, they do things like juggle two people, and that's very, very, very rare. And I don't think that resonates with I don't think that's going to resonate with hardly any of you. But for those of you that know what I'm talking about, that you totally resonate with this, I got you. And that's the very rare cases. I think this person, though, definitely coming from the past here, they are like this because they already had a hard time making a decision. They weren't making a decision based off of their heart, in my opinion. I feel like they eventually, I feel like they were looking at it from a practical standpoint, which is why they have the Nine of Pentacles now. This is a safe choice, or this is not necessarily a safe choice, but they're safe with this because it makes sense practically, but they still don't know where their heart is. They still don't know what gives them life, which is why the stars come into play, and why the challenge is playfulness. And the advice is playfulness, and the challenge is the Page of Wands. There needs to be useful energy, and the only way for you to tap into that is by accessing your emotions, and this person's having to do that now because of the anxieties and stuff that's being dredged up. So there's a lot of stuff going on with this other person on the other side. And what's interesting to me, though, is that what brought you two together was the Magician. The Magician, confidence, independence, manifestation. Do you have two cards in here to talk about manifestation in this reading? This reading is definitely talking about you guys manifesting each other in a way that isn't conjuring. It's like you guys found love, you were looking for something, and you both found it. You guys were both the vessel of what you guys were trying to manifest. You guys made it happen. In other words, you guys definitely found a way to connect with one another. The Magician, to me, though, also indicates that there was a cunningness to you, and it's really weird. I don't really read the Magician like this, but there was definitely something very cunning about both of you that you both found either very attractive, or you guys got into this relationship, either one person more than ready and the other person not quite sure that they were ready, but they weren't aware of the tools that they had to be ready. So now the challenge is tapping into the passion, into having more fun and enjoying the connection, because of course this is a brand new relationship starting from scratch. You're putting in the work and the foundation needed, and for some of you guys, like I said, some of you guys were really super ready to do it. Some of you guys were not quite as ready, or didn't feel as ready, and didn't have the confidence because you didn't feel like you had all the tools, but the tools have always been with you, which is why you started. And the Page of Wands is like, okay, let's get action, let's get passion, let's get going, let's enjoy this, let's have fun with it. But the person is so focused on their security and what makes sense to them, and how unready they feel because they've been alone for so long, they've been out of the game for so long, it seems like, that it may have thrown this person a little bit and kind of pulled them out of this mindset of, hey, relationships and being with people and enjoying stuff, that's that's all part of life, and you can do that just fine without having to worry about somebody either going behind your back, backstabbing you, cheating on you. This probably happens to this other person, which is why the two pentacles coming up here, right? Somebody may have juggled them. Somebody may have betrayed their trust. Somebody may have shown them that they can't be trusting. But it doesn't mean that this person here is the person that did it. I don't think that is the way at all. I think this is a past situation. But ultimately, I feel like this person's having to learn to relax, to enjoy, to go with the flow, but to ultimately look at how they feel and to act on that feeling. Because I think there's a lot of stuff in here that talks about practicality and not looking at their emotions. I don't see any cups here for the other person. And the only water energy that we're getting is the moon, but that's really more confusion and being influx with intense emotion that they still have to cipher through and understand, because it's still confusing. So, that being said, let's take a look at your whispers of love and see what else we can get. Let's see what else we can find with this, because this can be quite crazy. Alright, you guys have practice compassion, see things from a different perspective. Okay, that's very interesting. And it goes with both ways, I think, because this person is not really sure how to make sense of this relationship. Because this relationship is confusing, because I think this person's been very clear, very open. This is personal for them. They're not truly sure how they feel about their own part of their 50% of the relationship. They're not sure about how they feel, period. And I think they're trying to understand it the best way that they can, but they may have a comfort zone that they have to break out of in order for them to truly understand what's making them uncomfortable. But at the same time, they may already know. They may already know what's going on, why they're uncomfortable. They just don't know how to overcome it, or they may be struggling to overcome it at this moment, because this is stepping outside of their comfort zone. This is going ahead and following the heart, and that's hard for this person to do, especially if they've been always making choices from practical standpoints. But compassion is talking about, hearing other people out, seeing the different side of the story. And even though this person looks like they're ready to go, this person still has to, of course, consider the other person. They've been single for a long time. They may have gone through some things. This is their, they had a tower moment just the same as they had a tower moment. So understanding the other person is going to help a lot with the flow of the relationship, as well as this other person having to understand this person as well. Understanding that, of course, they feel the happiness, they feel happy, or they feel ready to express and to have a good time with this relationship. Not like this is a fling, but more like this is something that, they can really enjoy. This is something that they may have wanted for a long time. Both parties do need to see both sides of the story, so that way they can both help each other. One person can do it by themselves, yes, but the progress can be amplified and can be moved a lot faster. Both parties are open to discussing it, and I feel like it's discussing it and being open to seeing it and experiencing it from the other, from the perspective, from the placement that you are, but from seeing it from the perspective of the other, and through the eyes of the other person. It's hard to do, trust me. But it may definitely help and improve the relationship a lot better, and bring you guys together to actually have more fun, to enjoy each other, to experiment, to do whatever couples do nowadays.